Greetings. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I'm coming from the dojo. Instead, I was down this way, so I thought I'd pop in here and do a video. But I've got a feeling it's not going to be as good as I thought at the dojo, because I'm not normally here this hour of the day, and I'm just starting to realize how noisy it is outside. There's a panel beaters. There's a cabinet maker across there that has a drill and a plane running during business hours. They're a bit noisy at the moment, and what they do is, when it's really noisy at the drill, they turn the radio up to drown out the noise of the drill. So it just gets louder and louder. So my best laid plans of having a nice session here at the dojo, I think it's going to be a little bit noisy. Hi, Rochelle. Welcome. Good to see you back. Where's my phone? So we'll just wait a couple of minutes here before we get going. I'm looking for my phone. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's right there. Today, what we're going to do is start off with a bit of a warm-up and a stretch, as usual. And even if you're familiar with all these sort of stretches and it's nothing special. Graham, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on. The point with the stretching is not so much that you're here to learn something new with the stretching. It's an opportunity to actually get physical and do something that helps you get through this shutdown. I have a system of cards, and what I do is each card is worth 15 minutes. I have a whole bunch. One day I'll bring some along and show you, actually. But those cards are just, they're 3x5 note cards. And Rob Jerd, good to see you, buddy. Daniel Langworthy, Frederick, Us, welcome aboard. Now on those cards I have, it could be, for example, a fitness session. So it might be a couple of tabatas, or it might be some countdown work, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, deck of cards, things like that. Another one might be simply a good stretching workout. And then I might have a different stretching workout. Rob, good to see you, buddy. Rob D'Souza, Tony, welcome aboard. And it may be, for example, a 15-minute session on just one kata, or a 15-minute session on one move from a kata, or a bunkai application from a kata. But the point is, I have all these cards, and just as I do the deck of cards, and by shuffling the deck of cards, we're going to do the deck of cards soon, but by shuffling the deck of cards, what you do is you end up giving yourself a little bit of your body a little bit of guesswork. You're not 100% sure. You can't always control it. Well, the 15-minute cards can be like that, but also what you can do is, if you only have 15 minutes, just grab one of those cards, because quite often, here's what happens. You think, oh, I've got a bit of time for training, and then you start to procrastinate. Your brain starts to, the little voice goes, oh, yeah, but I want it to be a really good session. So what'll I do? Yeah, okay, well, nah. Okay, I'm going to really plan a good session, and I'll come back tomorrow. And that's what happens. You end up, baffling yourself with your own little brain blast. And by having the 15-minute cards, you can grab any one of those cards at any time and just go, yep, got 15 minutes. And you completely do away with all the guesswork about what you have to do, what you're going to do, and you just grab a card and go, bang, yep, great. I'll grab this card. Oh, today it's a stretching one. Oh, fantastic. Today, it's 15 minutes on pin out number 1, the first 5 movements. Great. And what it does, it completely removes the guesswork. So I'll work on that in the future and show you how I do that. I've got a stack of 5x4 cards, and I can pull out any one. And here's a really good thing if you run a dojo too. If you have 4 15-minute lots, for example, you can put 4 of those together. You can choose a warm-up, a strength and conditioning, a technique, and maybe kumite. Okay, always Vin, good to see you, buddy. Okay, so if you're doing a 1.5 hour session, you can grab 5 of them, let's say, and give yourself a little bit of wiggle room for in between. Raj Kumar, all the way from Nepal. We've got the subcontinent covered. We've got Nepal and India there. And another good thing about it is, Rud, well done. Good to see you, buddy. Rud's all the way from Japan. He lives in Japan. He's been living there for a long time. Glad to see you on board. And Daniel, good to see you again. The second Daniel. And by having those cards, what you can do is every now and then it may happen that you can't make it to training. You know, you get caught somewhere. And if you have those cards, you can say to someone who maybe they're not 100% sure what to do, well, then they can grab 4 or 5 of those 15-minute cards and they can grab everyone together. And this has actually happened at the dojo. That they've said, look, I've just had a message from Cameron. The plane's delayed. I'm not back in time for training. What he's said is he's given us a choice of these cards. So I'm going to pick out 5 or 6 of these cards and let's do it. Let's work together on it. So it doesn't even matter. It takes all the pressure away from having to actually instruct a class or take a class. All they're doing is they actually just lead the chant, lead the count. So that's a really good way of using those cards as well. But anyway, today we're going to have a bit of a stretch and then we'll do the deck of cards. We're getting up there too. It's starting to get quite challenging. We're adding the 10 of clubs and the 10 of spades. So that's 10 push-ups and 10 squats. And Graham Rose just joined in. Caught my attention there for a second. Graham Rose has been around for a long time, one of Australia's most successful. I'm just going to pop those cards in somewhere here. One of Australia's long-time great tournament fighters and an all-round good guy. So it's a real honour to have you on here, Graham. Before I get going to another shout-out, I want to shout out to my Patreon family members. I really appreciate it because I know that it's a real commitment to actually say, yep, I'm going to commit to $12 US a month, whatever it is. It all helps. So Vin's come on board yesterday. Good on you, Vin. Maxio Farrell, Muzz, Daniel Langworthy, Graham, Neil, Soren Sanderson, all the way from Denmark. Appreciate that. Rod Whippener, Chris. Chris is a doctor in Melbourne who in Brisbane who used to train with me 30 years ago, and he's come back on board again. It's fantastic. Frederick, good to see you, buddy. Frederick's here as well. Frederick Grandquist. Shivitri from India. Michael. Harry O'Farrell. Rob D'Souza. Thank you, Rob. Murray. GG, we call him GG. Graham Gardner, long-time student. Alan. Cole Johnson. Rudd. You're there, buddy. Thanks very much. I really appreciate your support. Zach, Chris Dunn and the family, Terry Burkett all the way from Wales, Rochelle, thank you, and Christina. So I really appreciate everybody's commitment and support there. Really makes a big difference to me when I know that people are enjoying what I'm bringing so much that they're going to put a little bit towards it each month. And that helps me too, particularly in this time with the virus shutdown, no dojos, all that sort of thing. And I'm really enjoying going online. And if people are enjoying it, I'll keep it up. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set the time up because I keep going over. I'll put that timer so I can see it. And we'll get going with a warm-up. We'll do the deck of cards and a little bit about my kyages today, perhaps. But also I wanted to show you a drill that I use with the kids. And if you teach kids and adults, in fact, anybody, because if you can teach it to a child, you can teach it to an adult. Some things you can teach to an adult, you can't teach to a child because they can't grasp the concept of it. But if you can teach something clearly to a child, it works really well with an adult as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you a drill that I call the Stomp-Turn Drill, and it really has a great learning improvement result when the kids do it, and adults for that matter. And then I'm going to show you what I call a knee ride drill. So anyway, a little bit to do today. Let's get going. Today we've put the 10 of, what did we put in? The 10 of clubs and the 10 of spades. Oh, it's hot in here too, by the way, because I've shut the doors to keep that blasted noise out, so it might get a little bit hot and sweaty. I've got my dojo towel too, as you can see. Got my dojo towel to mop the sweat off. Let's start off with a little bit of a warm-up. 1, 2, 3, hanta, itch, knee, sun, squatting, itch, knee. Remember, you're trying to get nice and relaxed through the back, through the spine. Sun, sheet. Let gravity do the work for you. Itch, knee, sun, sheet, relax. Itch, knee, sun, sheet, hips, itch, knee, sun, hanta. Just to loosen off and lighten up. Double shoulder width. Right hand up, twisting, itch, knee, sun, sheet, low, rock, itch, touch, 2 and 2, middle, itch, knee, sun, knee, knee, sun, knee, sun, knee, sun, good, pull to the right. Left. One leg bend. Again, let gravity do the work for you. Just try to relax everything down. The more you tense up, the more you fight the stretch. Just relax into it and let gravity open everything up for you. Nice and relaxed. Nate, I have a great story I'd love to tell you sometime. Maybe I'll tell you today about an aikido 10th dan named Koichi Tohei. And I had an opportunity to spend a week training with him in 1979. And he taught me some fantastic things, but he taught me a concept of relaxation, which I thought was fantastic. And I still use it to today. Around. Koichi Tohei was actually a big hero of mine before I met Sosai. So when I was a teenager doing Kyokushin, I bought his book called Key in Daily Life, and it really had a profound influence on me. Switching sides, again, elbow on the inside, let everything settle, don't fight it, just let gravity do the stretch for you. My apologies for that noise, it's just, I won't be back here in a hurry. Turn around, again, pushing forward, stretching the hip flexors. I've got these boards here today too. I use those boards. They're just old boards from a grading where someone's done some breaking, but they're great to do your push-ups on your knuckles if you don't have a hard surface. If you want some, I can mail them to you. We've got plenty. And around, toes in the air. Leg straight again. Pull down on one side. Both sides, pull your head down. Once again, try to remember that Ujjayi breathing we were talking about previously, which is the warrior breath or the courageous breath. And way you look at it in terms of karate is you do an ibuki breath and then close your mouth. So it's like a soft ibuki. You soften up, but keep your core, your diaphragm pushing, and then you simply close your mouth, but you keep that open shape in your mouth. So when you do ibuki, you get that openness. And Ujjayi is simply doing the ibuki with the mouth closed. So the noise it makes is approximately similar on the in-breath and the out-breath. Okay, Shikodatsu, push your left shoulder in. Right shoulder. Good, drop down nice and deep. Push your knees wide with your forearms. Relax again, let gravity do the work. Today I'm talking a lot about using the gravity for your stretching. Don't fight it, just let gravity do everything for you. Okay, stretching one leg. Arms. Okay, just quickly before we start, I'll just revisit that idea of the Ujjayi breathing too. The warrior breath, it's a really great way to breathe when you're stretching. It's like a soft ibuki with your mouth closed. So instead of like you're doing a soft ibuki, you then simply keep the mouth closed. And if you like, what you can do is kind of roll your tongue and put the tongue. So it makes that sound with the mouth slightly opened, and it gives you a really good breathing method for when you're stretching because it assists in the relaxation. I'll just have a quick chat. Imran, good to see you, buddy. Classic Koichi Tohei reference. I had that book too. Right, it was my Bible. When I was a 13, 14-year-old kid, it was like I was so thrilled to have it. And they later rewrote it into aikido and daily life. And for some reason, it didn't quite have the same effect on me. But Koichi Tohei, for those who aren't sure, he was a uchideshi live-in of Ueshiba Morihei, who was the founder of aikido. And in 1979, I had a fantastic opportunity to spend 1 week training with him. He was doing every day and train with Tohei Sensei. It was so fantastic. And he taught me some really beautiful techniques of relaxation, which I still use today. And he basically, in his Key Society, he would talk about 4 fundamental principles. First one was relax completely. Second was keep your weight underside. And you give that some thought. It's a fantastic way to relax. You have the weight of everything underside. And that's really, really useful too when you're stretching. You let gravity do the work. In other words, keep your weight. Let gravity look after your weight. Don't you tense it up. The third thing that he did was you concentrate your mind at the point in the lower abdomen. And for a series of reasons, particularly when you do kata. And the fourth thing he did was extend ki, what he called extend ki. So it's like you have this visualization of constantly sending energy out from your hands and from your body. But that keep the weight in the lower abdomen, that has a profound influence on your kata. So for example, if I'm moving in kata, and my consciousness is somewhere around here, then what happens is that part of my body will waver. kind of like I'm exaggerating it, of course, but even when you're not exaggerating it, and I'm thinking power, you get that little movement like this. But when you bring the weight down, concentrate the weight underneath, and think of put the consciousness at the point of the lower abdomen, the tanden in Japanese. Put the consciousness here. Then when you do that same movement now, what happens is you get this stillness through your body, which generates a lot of power through the core. And I remember too, when I was living in Japan, I did kendo, and the same principle would apply. If you try to strengthen up too much, the kendo stick would go like this. But when you just relax and extend your energy through the kendo stick, everything was just so and so strong. Okie doke. Yeah, this is my dojo, by the way. In fact, how about I'll show you give you a quick look at the dojo for those who haven't seen it. There's a beautiful image of Sosai. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm trying to get the camera on it. He gave that to me as a gift in 1976 when I was training at Hombu. I'll turn that little light off and get rid of that ring, eh? And this one down here, he presented that to me as well. That's in 1988. Seishin Doryoku, Karate Ichidai, Oyama Masters, 1988, in the fall. Zo, presented to the Cameron Quinn Dojo. That was very cool. Seishin Doryoku, that means spiritually unified effort. Spiritually unified effort. There's another one. That's with, can you see that? I can't tell. I can't see the camera. That's with Sosai. Probably around 1985, I'd say, when I was in Japan. And this one here, that's translating for Sosai when he gave a speech, interpreting a speech. You got Dolph Lundgren in the background there and a few other dignitaries. I'm trying to get it right. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. That's the front of my dojo. A lot of other interesting things going on around. This calligraphy here, see that? That top calligraphy. Well, where is it? There it is. Waga igai, minna wagashi, means everyone is my teacher. And that was a calligraphy done by the husband of one of my old school chums from Japan. He was a calligrapher. He was actually a very highly respected restorative architect. What he used to do is take old buildings and temples that were being knocked down and reconstruct them later on. Who's Richard? And have them knocked down, he'd reconstruct them later on. Who's Richard? Tanden Kokyu. Memory. Okay. Now let's get going. Enough postponing the inevitable. We've got to get this deck of cards done. I hope that's all. We've got to get this deck of cards done. I hope that's in vision. Yep, that's good. Okie doke. Deck of cards, join in. No sitting there and watching, otherwise you have to do double. Okay. Sitting there and watching, otherwise you have to do double. Okay. First card. Whoa, King of Spades. I don't mind the big ones starting first, because you get the big ones out of the way. I've got a sore hand too. 1, 2. $13 out of the next one. 6 of hearts. Oh, I don't like that one. 6 burpees. Got to be careful as you get older too. Look after your body. Ace of Spades. 10 push-ups. Queen clubs. Queen of clubs. 12 squats. Go. Look. Hitch. Hutch. Next card. 3 hearts. 3 burpees. Give me a bit of a sore knee. If my movement gets a bit funky, I'm just trying to protect my leg. Not feeling 100%. Next card, King of Clubs. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Next card. 3 diamonds. Next card. Beautiful. You notice in the squats, I touch my fingers to the ground. That makes sure I measure the length that I'm moving. I don't cheat too much. Jack, spades. There, we're getting a few of the big push-ups out of the way. That's nice. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next card. 5 of clubs. There must be some small ones in there somewhere. I don't mind when the big ones come out first. 4. Trying to stay in this little circle because I know that some people at home don't have a lot of space. So we'll stay nice and tight. 2 hearts. Remember when you get up. So we'll stay nice and tight. 2 hearts. Remember when you get up, try not to use your hands. Use momentum. Keep my hands away from the mat. 2 hearts. 2. Whoa. 9 of hearts. 9 burpees. Notice I go very quiet in the burpees. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whew. Next one. Joker. Well, I'll take that. So remember, as you're doing shadow, soften up the shoulders. And then later on when you add speed, the speed will be there. Putting that metronome on. Use that metronome to follow your rhythm through your movements so you get nice. Let's keep going. 2 clubs. 1, 2. Next one. Ace club. So that's 10 squats. Next one. 5 hearts. Hearts have got to be in there somewhere as much as you want them to go away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jack clubs. 11 squats. 7 hearts. Whoa. 1. You young fit guys should tear through these. 3. 40 years ago, I would have kept up with you. 4. 5. 6. 7. What's next? 2 spades. Take the little one. Next one. 2 diamonds. How good is that? 1, 2. Next one. Whoa, here it is. The other big 8. The other big heart. 8 hearts. 8 burpees. Keep the rhythm. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Next one. 8 diamonds. 10 sit-ups. Four spades. 4 push-ups. Next one, 10 spades. 10 more push-ups. Hang in there. Jack, diamonds, 11 sit-ups. Eight, 9, 10, 11. Next one. Whoa, Queen diamonds. Stay on the mat. 12 more sit-ups. 4, 5, 6, 7. Do some twisters. 8, 9. Pull your shoulder back. 10, 11. 12. 4 hearts. Had to be a heart following that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Joker. Nice shadow spa. Think about what you're doing. What's your objective in the shadow spa? Maybe it's footwork. Work your footwork. Remember, part of the footwork is the upper body rotation. So as I step, use my shoulder to rotate. See my partner come past, come in. Doesn't have to be tournament footwork either. It can be self-defense. Knock it away. Bang. Big circle around. Cock hand. That sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. Pretend you're Bruce Lee. Like that. Knock it down. Back fist. Remember, peekaboo style. Don't turn to throw a jab. Just leave at the elbow. Throw a back fist. Move the head. When you move the head, don't leave the hands behind. Move the hands with the head. Good. Okay, next card. 3 spades. Next card. King diamonds. 13 sit-ups. Slide your hands. We call these sliders. Slide your wrists to your knees. I think that's 13. If it's not, I'll do another one later. 3 clubs. Remember, I'm sitting down. I've got to get up. No hands. Use the pendulum and your hip tuck. Pendulum, hip, forward. 3 clubs. 1, 2, 3. Next one. 10 diamonds. Sit-ups. Again, slide your wrist to your knee. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next one. 5 spades. 5 push-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next one. 5 diamonds again. 5. Next one. Queen spades. 12 push-ups. Thought all the big ones are gone. 12. And lucky last. Easy peasy. I think that was yesterday's lucky one too. 4 clubs. I must have shuffled them. Sometimes you shuffle them, the same card stays on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. Spend a minute, grab a drink, come back, I'll be right with you. It's a good solid workout. Good, so there's your deck of cards. Don't forget tomorrow we add 2 more. We're getting up there with the toughies. What's that? Queen of spades and the ace of hearts. So that's 10 burpees. So that's what we got to look forward to tomorrow. Well done. Okay, while we're here, I'll check the messages first. Arvid, good to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks, Rochelle. Yeah, the dojo's got a real atmosphere, and unfortunately that was just a bit, but all around the side walls and everything, there's some great photos, and I've got a section of my wall we actually call the wall, and what it is over the years, when I think of something in the dojo at training, it might be a quote of Soul Size, or it might be something that we thought of just then, or I put it on the wall, and what we have on the wall is just a whole bunch of really interesting acronyms, quotes, suggestions, principles, things like that. And Rob Wall, good on you, Rob. I'm glad you did it. You should be able to do the whole deck. Rob Jerd's there. He just did his second dan here, just less than 6 months ago, probably. But anyway, and he did a fantastic second dan. Our second dan requires 30 grounds of kumite, but also requires some really good solid bunkai, and Rob's bunkai is really good. But Rob can attest, we have that, that section on the wall, Rob, where I've got all the principles and quotes and acronyms and all that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. Well, I'm actually turning that into an ebook. I'm going to take one of those quotes, put it in the ebook, and then give an explanation of it. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I've already had a lot of people want to get copies, but anyway, when it becomes available, I'll let you know. Now, I was talking about Rob says you can get lost in that. Yep. Good on you, Rob. I'm glad you're here. I was talking about Koichi Tohei. Quite an amazing personality who had a lot of impact on my own growth when I was young. And he used to talk about infinite stillness, he would say. And when he was describing meditation, we do a meditation with him every morning. What he would do is he would say that half of a half of a half of a half is infinitely smaller, but never zero. So when he would sit in the meditation posture, his attention to the tanden, the point in the lower gut, and he would literally rock. This is how he would teach people. And he literally sat in front of me like 2 feet away, and I'm in awe going, dude, this is my hero from when I'm 13, and here he is in front of me teaching me how to meditate. That was a real blast. But he would rock, and it's really good. He would rock and rock and rock and rock and rock. And in his consciousness, that rocking never stopped. And you know where I found that to be really helpful was in the winter camps in Japan, or in the branch chief camps. We go up to Mitsumine, and every morning we go into the temple, and the priest there, his name was Mishima Sensei, would do the Shinto chanting, and he would bless everyone. He'd come around with hinoki. I think that's right, isn't it, Richard Kimura? Is it the hinoki that they use in Shinto to bless? It's like a priest in Christianity throwing the holy water. But anyway, everyone would sit there and seiza. And of course, these days, people don't spend a lot of time in seiza, but Sosai would sit rock rigid. And I refused to move or give up as long as Sosai sat there. So what I would do is I'd recall what Tohei Koichi Sensei taught me about that infinite movement, and I'd sit there and seiza, and I'd just do that. And what it would do is literally it would seem to give me a sense of lightness through my seiza. So it allowed me to sit there for a long, long time. Very, very interesting stuff. Well, like I said, I'm going to, once the deck of cards is over, I'm going to start doing a daily meditation video too, and I hope you can join in with that. Okay, let's move on. Now I wanted to look at what I call the knee ride drill. Now, chapter 15, soul size, this is karate. If you haven't, go and check it out. It's called lying down techniques. We went over that. The translator at that time, Richard Gage, had no precedence. So for the word newaza, Japanese newaza, which we now know as groundwork or ground grappling, newaza literally means the techniques of lying down. So he called it lying down techniques. Fair call. But now we call it groundwork, okay? And you can't deny the legitimacy of it. Sosai spent 4 years focused on training in judo at the Sone Dojo. Sone Dojo was run by a fellow named Sone Koji. Very interesting man. His father was a 6th Dan. His nephew went on to become a world champion, and he himself won a world championship, and he won a silver medal, would you believe, in his second world championship. He lost to Anton Geesink from Holland. So Sone was right up there. But when he won his world championship, what I thought was quite significant was he won by what they call kamishihogatame. Anyone who does grappling, they know that what that is the common north-south position where you pin someone down on top. And he won a world championship with that. Now, usually in world championships, they're won with throws, but Sone Koji was very famous for his groundwork, and this is why Sosai went and trained at his dojo. And I think that's very, very interesting that Kyokushin, because of the tournaments, has cut out that groundwork. But if you were to analyze Sosai's books and you analyze what Sosai did and said, there's a lot of grappling, a lot of stand-up grappling, a lot of joint manipulation and everything, which we just don't do in the tournaments. So tournaments represent a very small part. They're great when you're young and you're hungry and you want to compete in sporting competitions, but once that's over, there's an awful long time. Most people retire around late 20s, early 30s. Then you got your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. There's a long time after your tournament career that you need to keep working, and that's where expanding your skills over the 5 ranges becomes very, very valuable. Kyokushin tournaments are 5 ranges, range 5 kicks and range 4 punches. Very little inside. Okay, you've got the headbutt elbow range, the stand-up grapple, all illegal techniques. The other 3 ranges represent all the things that are illegal in Kyokushin tournaments. Okay, but we need to address those as well. If you don't address those, you're in trouble. So let's look at this knee ride drill. The knee ride is a position that you can take and control someone with minimal energy. And you can practice it on a sofa cushion. You can practice it on a couple of pillows, if you have a little meditation cushion, or if you have one of those kick pads. See that kick pad there? If you have one of those, they're really easy to practice. So watch what I do. This becomes like a body, okay? The knee ride is here. I have my knee on the belly, and notice this angle here. It's about 120. To increase the pressure on the knee ride, you simply increase. So we start here. Notice this foot, this sole on the ground, turning away. You don't want this knee on the ground. You never have the knee on the ground because all the weight goes into that knee. You have the knee and pressure on the ribs, and this foot up here. Okay, now here's the drill. We place our hands here, and we bring our knees together and point our toes. I'll show you that in a second, a different angle. And then we switch sides. Tripod, knees together, feet in the air, switch sides. Watch my feet from this angle now. I have the knee ride. I increase to 180 degrees to increase pressure. You can just do this on the floor at home. Tripod. I bring my knees together and I point my toes in the air. You see that? If I drag my knees across, my legs get tangled in their legs. And you lose your advantage. I'm here, one. Knees together, toes in the air. And then I switch sides. And I work on that 180 degree angle. One, toes up, it's a knee ride drill. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and if you are of the inclination that you want to treat it realistically so that you're thinking in terms of real control and impact, then what you can do is you can come here, 1, 2, 3. You hit, 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 hit. I don't punch down. I like to use we call it Greystoke. It's like the apes in that movie Greystoke. They just use gravity. It's like dead weight. You just take the dead weight, thump it down with your tettsui. 1, 2. 1, 2. You can even use that knee. Always come back to the 180 knee ride. Okay, that's a good little drill. We call that the knee ride drill, and it's a great place to start if you're working on groundwork, if you've never done a lot of groundwork. Fantastic. Harry, yes, you get an extra 50 push-ups for being late. Good on you. Okay, the next one we call the Stomp-Turn Drill. If you're an instructor, the Stomp-Turn Drill is a fantastic way. The Stomp-Turn Drill is a fantastic way. Nate and Shay, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hope you did the deck of cards. Harayagush, the wand with zigzag paper stripes. What's that? Is that the knee ride drill, Richard? Or are you talking about the Harayagushi from the Shinto shrine? Yes, okay, thank you. Yes, that's it, the zigzag paper cuts. Good, okay, I'm just going to read this. Doc wakes me. Read a beautiful message by Sensei Gichin Funakoshi, purpose of karate to have a flat stomach and strong midsection, very deep if you think about it. Indeed, pretty well everything you can do needs everything nice and deep down to here. Tiger Kun, good to see you. I knew you'd be here. Good on you. Daniel, like to see some groundwork takedowns reintroduced. Well, you're right. We in our dojo, and Rob Jerd can attest to this, and even Tiger. You see that Tiger knows just as much groundwork as he knows stand-up. But Rob Jerd will attest, when you come to the dojo, we look for the groundwork applications in kata infinitely. and we recognize the importance of groundwork very much. So yes, Daniel, that's very, very true. Some dojos, I think, probably will introduce it before others. We certainly have been doing it for quite a while, simply because we think it's the hip turn, and particularly it protects the joints with the jigsaw mats. These jigsaw mats have been a real benefit to the martial arts world. They were invented by a Kyokushin teacher in Melbourne, Australia, who didn't take out a patent, silly him. But anyway, the downside is because of the sponge, it damages ankles and knees. I'm not too sure any scientific papers have ever been done, but I guarantee if they did, there'd be a very high correlation between knee and hip injuries and these sponge jigsaw mats. They just really aren't good for your legs when you kick, because your feet bite into them, whereas on a wooden floor, when you kick, your feet turn. You kick and your foot turns naturally on the wood. On a spongy surface, you kick and your leg doesn't turn, and so an accumulation of that over time will damage the knee and the hip. Okay, so our solution to that is what we call the stomp turn. So here it is. It's a very simple drill, but very, very successful. You take your fighting stance, and if I'm going to throw a kick off my back leg, what I do is I stomp that leg. So that's the first part of the drill. So you stomp the leg. Nate, Shay, Tiger, Rob Jerd, everyone who's ever trained with me, Chrissy Dunn, you know the Stomp-Turn Drill, and it's very effective. So stomp the kicking leg. So if I'm going to kick right, stomp. Does a couple of things. One, it allows the front foot to turn. Two, it builds up a tendon reflex. You get that to take advantage of that stretch, shortening cycle. Stomp. Now, after I stomp, my front foot or support foot turns. So from the front, once again, I'll roll up my legs. So I'm taking my fighting stance. I stomp and I turn my front foot out. That opens the hip, creates the arc of tension, sets up the arc of tension, and allows the hip to drive through with optimal power. So once again, stomp, turn. The third part of the drill is tuck. Stomp, turn, tuck. Stomp, turn, tuck your leg. Oh, peace is coming. I've just turned off that lathe across the road at the cabinet makers. Stomp, turn, tuck. See that? So watch. Stomp, turn, tuck. They're the first three. Now we kick. Stomp, turn, tuck, kick. And I let my weight go forward like I'm headbutting the target. That makes sure your weight goes in. From the side, stomp, turn, tuck, kick, and fall forward. Now, if you had a partner, what we would do is we'd say stomp, turn, tuck, kick, rotate, sneaky, sneaky. What that means is fighting is all about sneakiness, how more deceptive you can be than your partner. A kumite round is simply him trying to be more deceptive than you and you trying to be more deceptive than him. And the one who's more deceptive is the one who wins. Okay, so I'll go back here so you can see. Stomp, turn, tuck, kick, put the foot down, then I rotate. I'm here. Stomp, turn, tuck, kick, step, rotate, sneaky, sneaky. Now, if I wanted to kick with the front foot, I stomp and bring it back. Stomp, turn. See that? Stomp, turn. Now, you use the stomp as a distance range fighter. So if your partner, your opponent is a runner, someone who tries to get space, we're going to use that stomp to get space. You see that? So I'm trying to chase him. He's going everywhere. I use the stomp to gain distance. But if he's a jammer, someone who jams in and jams your technique, well, then you can use that stomp to gain space again, to open up the space. So the stomp turn is what gets your distance. And you can work with that from different ranges. If you don't have a partner during the lockdown, you have a bag, or even if you have an imaginary partner or a tree, you don't even have to hit it, just use it for distance. And I get really close to the tree, so I'm so close I can't hit it. And then I use the stomp turn to go back to create space. or I'm a really long way and I want to kick with my front foot, I use the stomp turn to get distance. Okay, so if I want to kick with the front foot now, stomp back, turn. Notice my front foot turns. That opens the hip, creates the arc of tension. Then I'm going to tuck my leg and drive and fall forward. Okay? Stomp, turn, step, rotate, sneaky, sneaky. Tap them on the top of the head. That's the stomp, turn, drill. Just practice that for 1 or 2 minutes now. I'll talk you through it as you go in your own time. Stomp, turn. Don't worry about the kick so much as stomp, turn. Remember, stomp the kicking leg, turn, tuck. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. Kick, extend in, rotate, touch the back of their head. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. And you get the hip, you push the hip forward, and you get the snap extension off the leg. You get a very powerful roundhouse kick. Stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. Now you'll notice too when you do the turn correct, when you kick, your bottom foot should be facing the opposite direction. So that's the beauty of the stomp, turn. Stomp, turn. You see that? I turn that foot away. So now when I kick, it naturally ends up facing backwards. Okay? Next session on Wednesday, I'm going to go right into a concept we call back pocket, front pocket. Yeah, good on you, Tiger. Stomp, turn, tuck, kick. That's it. Tiger trains with me regularly up at the mountain, and he's got that stomp, turn down really well. Okie doke, we'll wind it up there. It's been an hour already. Time flies and you're having fun. I just want to finish off. Just get a nice relaxed position. I don't mind if you lean on something. Realistically, you shouldn't lean on anything when you meditate because you start to depend on it. Like Rob Jerd says, I know Rob's dojo does the groundwork as well, and the more you get into the ranges 4 and 5, the more examples of it you see in the bunkai, in the kata. Okay, nice, relax. Just relax nice and softly. Okay, breathe in, nice, long and deep. Hold for a bit. Fix your back and breathe out. Once again, breathe in nice and deeply. Breathe out. This time breathe in, tense a little bit, breathe out, and then just let the breath go. Tense. This is where you can do the Tohei Koichi infinite stillness. Just rock, center everything down in the lower abdomen, spine erect, shoulders back. And as you breathe, just let it breathe normally and naturally. When you breathe in, watch the breath come in and say to yourself, I am breathing in. When you breathe out, I am breathing out. Don't force the breath or control the breath or try to breathe at a set rhythm. Just simply let the breath come in and out of its own accord. Just breathe. When your body wants to breathe, let it breathe. And as it breathes in, say, I am breathing in. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. Relax your tongue. Relax your scalp. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Relax your ears. Relax the roof of your mouth. All these places where you've got hidden tension. Relax the eye sockets. I am breathing in. I am breathing out. Okie-doke. So that's a really powerful but very simple method of meditation. We'll wrap it up there again. The hour goes quickly. I'll just have a look at a few comments here. Yep, Rob. I know Rob Jerd's Dojo. They do plenty of groundwork. Geir Haverberg, nice to see you. Us, all the way from Norway. Harry, I know this from experience. Indeed, anyone who's over 50 starts to have problems with their knees if they don't know how to, if they're not taught how to protect them from the beginning. Us, Daniel Langworthy, thanks, and thanks again for becoming part of the Patreon family. There's plenty of stuff coming your way in that box of yours. Daniel, what do you think is some katas to study bunkai for the takedowns or ground fighting? Well, here's the thing. Where there's a twirl, there's a hurl. What that means is any kata, where you have a turn in a kata, you have an applicant for a ground for a takedown. That's my theory. Where you have two hands come together in a kata, you have a balance break. Where you have a rotation or a turn, you have an opportunity to take down. Very few kata, if any, actually do groundwork in the kata. Okie doke. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate you coming along. I'll see you Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Just when it's gone silent, nice and quiet now, we've finished. But anyway, us, keep up the good work and see you tomorrow for the deck of cards. We're adding 9 of spades, ace of hearts, 10 burpees, 9 push-ups. Thanks, us. Thanks, Rob.